okay, you're saying something that's actually factually inaccurate according to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with Whirly.
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude.
This kid had a rifle with a scope. Now, here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle.
In a shocking twist, Joe Rogan just stirred up the entire internet by questioning the official story behind the Charlie Kirk incident. On his podcast, Rogan openly admitted that he doesn't buy the clean-cut version authorities have pushed out. Not one bit. He even dropped a bomb, saying there's a lot of weird stuff going on, hinting that something deeper might be hiding beneath the headlines. But that wasn't all. Rogan went on to point out several unsettling details that just don't make sense, including talk of a mysterious decoy suspect, supposedly connected to other criminal cases. According to Rogan, these strange inconsistencies raised some serious red flags about what really happened, from the shooter's skill level to the suspicious story about the weapon itself. And just when you think it couldn't get messier, whispers started flying about people close to Kirk, with rumors suggesting that even his wife might somehow be tangled in the chaos. This story's not just wild, it's explosive. The tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk has left everyone reeling, with shocking details still surfacing by the day. Kirk was shot on September 10th, 2025, during a student Q&A at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, and sadly passed away soon after from his injuries. Following an intense 33-hour manhunt, authorities arrested 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, charging him with aggravated murder and firing a weapon that caused serious harm. At first, it all seemed like a straightforward case, until Rogan stepped in. On his podcast, he questioned whether the official version truly lined up with reality, saying, "I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird stuff going on." That one quote lit social media on fire. And what really sent the internet spiraling was Rogan's mention of a decoy suspect, possibly linked to other crimes. A twist that has everyone asking what's really being hidden behind this so-called official story. According to Rogan, these bizarre details raised major red flags about the credibility of the whole investigation. He didn't hold back, expressing serious doubt about the weapon used in the attack.
There was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child porn. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview.
Reports claimed Tyler Robinson pulled off the shooting with a restored World War I-era rifle, and Rogan flat out called that ridiculous. He questioned how an old, dismantled, and rebuilt antique gun could pull off such a clean, precise, and deadly hit in a crowded setting. It just doesn't make sense, he said, his tone laced with frustration. Rogan even joked that he wished he could personally dig into the case himself, hinting that something about it smells like a cover-up. That single comment sent listeners into a frenzy, with clips spreading across every corner of social media. People started wondering, if Joe's this suspicious, what are we not being told? But here's where it gets even crazier. Joe Rogan isn't the only big name raising questions about what really happened to Charlie Kirk. Candace Owens just dropped her own bombshell, and it's blowing minds. She claimed the public has been misled from the very beginning. Over the weekend, Owens teased that she'd received new information about the case, and when she finally spoke out, she didn't hold back for a second. Candace said she's convinced Tyler Robinson was framed. Her exact words? "Everything the agencies have told us about the Charlie Kirk assassination was a lie." That statement lit up every news feed instantly. According to Owens, as she dug deeper into the case, the name of a well-known politician suddenly came up, hinting this might be tied to something way bigger than anyone imagined. And she didn't stop there. Owens completely rejected law enforcement's story that Robinson was unstable, calling it another manipulation meant to shape public opinion. She pointed to several pieces of evidence that, in her words, just don't add up.
The narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Why? Wait. Why are you using such an old gun? That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
She questioned how Robinson supposedly turned himself in without ever confessing, and said he looked genuinely confused when told about the strange carvings found on the bullets. Even the gun ownership trail, which officials claimed linked back to him, is now being called into question, leaving everyone wondering who's really pulling the strings behind this deadly plot. Candace Owens pointed out that Tyler Robinson isn't even a gun guy, not into firearms at all. That fact alone, she said, makes the state's entire story sound shaky. Then came another twist. The text messages. Owens claimed the messages supposedly sent by Robinson didn't even sound like him. She noted how the texts used the word vehicle, a term she said Tyler never uses. That detail, small as it sounds, made her question whether the evidence was staged or manipulated. Owens also revealed something shocking about Tyler's family. Contrary to reports claiming that Robinson's father convinced him to surrender, Candace said that's false. According to her, the family never got a confession from Tyler. Instead, they were warned by a family friend that his name was already being circulated as the shooter. It wasn't a moment of guilt, it was panic. They were blindsided. And that's when Owens dropped the real bomb. She reminded her audience that just 1 week before his death, Charlie Kirk had announced a massive internal audit at Turning Point USA. According to Candace, this wasn't some routine review. It was a deep probe into a mysterious department inside the organization, allegedly designed to track where millions of dollars had been disappearing. Owens hinted that Kirk's audit might have rattled some powerful cages, and that his sudden death may have been more than just bad luck. Her claims, paired with Joe Rogan's fiery skepticism, have exploded across social media, and people are connecting dots faster than ever. On his podcast, Rogan went even deeper into the strange details surrounding the assassination, focusing on one chilling moment that's driving everyone crazy: the decoy man. Rogan described this person as an older man who, right after shots were fired, started yelling, "I did it! I did it!" while drawing attention to himself in front of the horrified crowd. The whole thing was bizarre and creepy beyond belief. According to reports, this man wasn't just any bystander. His criminal background allegedly ties him to multiple major historical incidents, including 9/11 and the Boston Marathon bombing. While no one knows how deep those connections really go, just the idea that the same man could be present at 3 separate national tragedies has people completely shaken. And here's where it gets even darker. Right after the Kirk shooting, that same man was suddenly arrested on serious charges of illegal content possession. The timing was almost too perfect, effectively shutting him up before any reporter or investigator could question his role in the chaos. The whole thing just doesn't sit right, Rogan said on air, and millions agreed. Online communities have since gone into overdrive, digging into this man's past and trying to figure out if he's just a disturbed attention seeker or something far more calculated. The coincidences are just too wild. And for many watching, the mystery around Charlie Kirk's death keeps growing louder by the day. The idea that all this chaos could be part of a bigger scheme to mislead investigators and distract the public has everyone's heads spinning. This whole decoy suspect theory has turned into one of the most chilling pieces of the puzzle. For some, it proves Rogan's point, that the official story is full of cracks. For others, it's just another eerie mystery added to an already tangled web surrounding the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But as wild as it already sounds, things are about to get even messier. New rumors have been circling online, and this time, they're zeroing in on Charlie Kirk's wife. After Kirk's death, she stepped into his position as the new CEO of Turning Point USA, a move that instantly raised eyebrows. People started asking, was this transition part of Charlie's plan, or was something darker at play behind the scenes? Some online commentators claim she has a complicated history with certain political figures tied to TPUSA, and that her sudden rise to power might not have been pure coincidence. While Kirk had once mentioned wanting her to lead if anything happened to him, skeptics are wondering if that statement was genuine foresight, or a setup in motion long before his death. The timing has everyone suspicious. Then came the alleged memo, the one that might blow the lid off everything. Reports say Charlie Kirk signed a document on September 2nd, just days before he was killed. In it, he announced Justin Stree as the new COO of Turning Point USA and ordered him to take over the controversial Doge initiative. This was supposed to be a sweeping internal audit aimed at reshaping the company's culture, exposing financial inefficiencies, and tracing exactly where TPUSA's massive funding was being funneled. Critics of the official story argue that the timing of Kirk's death, coming so soon after signing that memo, just can't be ignored. If the Doge audit had gone forward, it could have exposed sensitive financial dealings within TPUSA, potentially involving high-level donors and political insiders with everything to lose. That's why some people are calling this memo a smoking gun. To them, it's proof that Kirk might have been trying to regain control of his empire before someone made sure he couldn't. And of course, Candace Owens didn't stay quiet. She's been relentless, claiming that Kirk was under serious political and financial pressure in the weeks before his assassination. In one of her most explosive statements yet, Owens alleged that billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman had personally threatened Kirk over his stance on Israel and his direction for Turning Point USA. According to her, Kirk refused to bend, rejecting offers of outside money and influence, and days later, he was dead. That accusation sent shockwaves across every media outlet imaginable. Screenshots, podcasts, reaction videos, it all blew up instantly. However, Ackman has strongly denied the claim, calling it absurd and defamatory, insisting he had no involvement whatsoever. Still, the damage was done, and the timing, the memo, and the chaos surrounding TPUSA's leadership have left the internet wondering whether Charlie Kirk's death was the result of a single act of violence or part of something far more calculated. Bill Ackman hit back hard, insisting he never blackmailed Charlie Kirk, and that every interaction they had was nothing but extremely cordial. Still, Candace Owens' shocking claims lit the internet on fire, sparking intense debate about whether powerful financial figures might have wanted to silence Kirk before he could reveal something massive. The idea that money, influence, and politics could all be tangled up in his death has turned this tragedy into a full-blown mystery. And it doesn't stop there. The speculation has now taken an even darker turn, with some conspiracy theorists claiming that Kirk's widow may have known more than she let on about the internal conflicts and audits brewing inside Turning Point USA before his death. None of these claims have been proven, but that hasn't stopped social media from running wild. Then came the most ruthless part, the funeral drama. As emotional clips and photos from Charlie's memorial began spreading online, some users accused his wife of faking her grief. They claimed her tears looked staged, her expressions too polished, as if she was putting on a show. There's zero hard evidence to support that theory, but it didn't matter. The damage was done, and suddenly her every move was under a microscope. For many, it marked the darkest chapter yet in a story already overflowing with secrets, suspicion, and unanswered questions. Now the real question looms. Is Charlie's widow being unfairly attacked by internet sleuths desperate to pin the blame on someone? Or could there actually be more to her role than meets the eye? The uncertainty has the public split, and both Rogan and Owens have made it clear. This story doesn't add up. The timeline of events around Charlie Kirk's assassination is riddled with inconsistencies. How did the alleged shooter even manage to get onto the roof of a tightly monitored university building without setting off alarms or being spotted by security? And why wasn't anyone watching that area during a packed, high-profile Q&A session? None of it makes sense. According to the official version, the shooter fired from the rooftop before jumping down and fleeing the scene. But the few video clips that have surfaced only deepen the mystery. Some footage shows a figure moving away from the roof in a way that doesn't match the story of a sudden escape, while other clips seem oddly edited, missing the kind of clear continuity you'd expect from such a dramatic event. And hovering over it all is the decoy suspect. The older man who, in the middle of the chaos, shouted, "I did it!" before being arrested later on completely unrelated charges. The timing, the confusion, the strange coincidences, it's all too bizarre. Online, people are convinced that these details aren't random mistakes but part of a larger distraction. As the official investigation drags on, the public is left wondering if they're being fed the truth or carefully misled. Every new twist seems to raise more questions than answers. And one thing's certain, the mystery surrounding Charlie Kirk's death isn't fading anytime soon. Social media has turned into an all-out battlefield, with users racing to uncover what really happened behind the Charlie Kirk incident. Across X, Reddit, and TikTok, people are digging through old photos, leaks, and archived posts, connecting dots the mainstream story never mentioned. And the deeper they dig, the stranger it gets. The mysterious decoy suspect, the alleged shooter's shady past, that unbelievable antique weapon, and those suspiciously timed internal memos from TPUSA. It's all adding up to something way bigger than anyone first imagined. At this point, it doesn't even feel like random chaos anymore. It feels engineered. For a growing number of people, Charlie Kirk's assassination doesn't read like a simple act of violence, but a carefully tangled web of secrets, misdirection, and power moves. Every weird inconsistency just keeps eating away at public trust, making the official story look more like a scripted performance than a real investigation. And that's what's really freaking people out. The sense that maybe this whole thing isn't just a tragedy. Maybe it's a battle over who gets to control the story. Whether by accident or by design, the official version now feels fractured. Maybe even fabricated. The narrative keeps shifting, leaving everyone questioning what's real and what's being fed to them. One thing's certain, this isn't just about a shooting anymore. It's about control, influence, and the power to shape what people believe. Until the full truth finally comes out, the only smart move is to stay alert, think critically, and question everything. So what do you think really went down here? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your theories. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss another deep dive into stories shaking up the culture. See you in the next one.